I'm Sara with Bob Clements International, and I have the man, the myth, the legend, Bob Clements with me.
Yeah, mostly the myth.
There it is.
There
it is. Hey, we are so excited to be with you today as we talk about adding an extra 5% on the parts that we sell to ourselves. Now, this is a incredibly important number for a number of reasons, but specifically, it costs you more money to sell a part to yourself in the service department than it does to a counter customer. Think about it for just a second. A counter customer walks into your dealership. They provide the labor to come from their car to the counter. They come in with the knowledge of their make, model, and serial number.
No,
oh, please. I know that they don't have all of that information.
It's red.
It's red. They all do the same thing,
exactly,
right?
Exactly.
So they come in with at least a base understanding of what the part they need is, right? You then come alongside and help them look it up. You grab the part, they pay, and they are on your merry way. But here's what happens in the service department. A unit is dropped off for service. We have to have someone, typically a service coordinator, bring the unit in, help get the unit set up for triage. Then we have a technician look at the unit, put up a list of the things that they think are going to need, the unit's going to need for parts. Then it goes to the service manager. Then it goes to the parts manager. Then we get a quote on it. Call the customer back, but that goes back to the service manager again. Finally, when we get approval on that, it goes back to the technician and we can finally sell the part. Help me understand how it doesn't cost you more to sell a part to yourself. So when we start working with a parts department specifically, we always add an extra 5% at a minimum on all the parts we sell to ourselves. So Bob, how do we go about charging this extra 5%?
Well, first of all, you have to understand, like Sara said, it does cost you more. And we've done a lot of time studies on this. And 5% is kind of the minimum that we find that you need to do on that. So a lot of this goes back to your software. Now, years ago, before software was really able to do this, what we did was we figured out where we wanted to be with our parts margins. At the counter, we added another 5%. Okay, so that's where we got the 5% out, and then a person at the parts counter got a 5% discount. Never any problems with that. They always loved it because they said, oh, you walked in, you get a 5% discount because you are one of our counter customers. So that's how we did it. But a lot of software companies out there really kind of grabbed hold of this idea, and most of the companies that we recommend, they can do this for you now automatically. So you literally can build into, if the part goes on a work order, it automatically adds 5% to that part. Then it has a cutoff limit. Now, we don't do this. I continue to do it on $500 parts or $1,000 parts. Normally our cutoff is anything that's $100 or less to do it with. So your software in most cases will do this for you. If you don't know if it will, reach out to your software vendor, whoever that might be, and say, hey, look, I want to do this. How do I do this with your software? Now, if they can't do it, don't give up. Again, you can go back to the old-fashioned way of saying we're going to take all of our parts margins, pop them up 5, anything that's $100 or less, and then we're going to give that discount back at the parts counter and do it. But Sara, it's a big game changer for a shop. And I've got dealers out there that are doing 7% on this. And people say, well, but won't your customers know? I've never, in all the years we've been doing this, ever had a service manager or parts person say a customer came in and says, I can't believe you charged me an extra 5% back there. Yeah. It just doesn't happen. Right. But what we're trying to do, again, is like Sara said, is offset that labor cost that we have, because as Sara pointed out, it is more expensive to sell a part to yourself. As crazy as it sounds, it is more expensive to do that. The key thing is if your shop is like a lot of shops out there, about 30% of all the part sales go through your own service department. This is like adding about a 1.5% average gross profit margin increase bump on the total parts you sell. So this is, to my mind, a must-do thing for your parts department.
And that money is net profit.
It is net profit. So it's a great idea. And again, I would encourage you. And if you have a question about it, again, I would encourage them, Sara, to reach out to you and I. If you're getting any pushback on your people, reach out to you and I and let us help you through that.
Absolutely. So now that we've got all of this money coming in, this additional net profit, what do we do with it? Number one, we're going to typically hire a support person to help us move the parts back and forth because, again, it costs you more. But it's also important to keep in mind that with this extra 5%, anything we do that enhances our customer experience, they ultimately have to pay for. If you were to walk into a store and they had done things to make your experience better as a customer, which is what you're doing in this situation, they're not benevolent like you are. Or us,
Yeah.
very benevolent. But it's just what they've got to do. You've got to raise it. So that's what we're looking at. So Bob, any last thoughts before we say, go ahead and let's make this change happen.
No, I would say again, if you've got questions on it or whatever, just reach out to Sara and I. Would be tickled to death to kind of walk you through it. And like Sara said, this is where you would add that parts support person that would help the parts department as a part of it. And this is really how you offset part of that cost also. So this to me is a no-brainer. Easy thing to do in your parts department, and especially this year where we're going to have so many parts sales and there's going to be some shortages of parts. This is an easy thing to do to add some really cool extra dollars to your bottom line and help you be more profitable.
That's it. Thanks, guys.